Rude, football people often talk about there being ways to lose, ways you need to perform when things have gone against you. Did you at least see that from your players today?
Yeah, I did, 100%. I think we performed to the maximum of our capabilities. Like last week in Brighton, it was a spirited performance. We were in the game. Of course, Liverpool was a dominant side and creating more chances, but we had our shot on the post, the two Facundo shots, the disallowed goal where I've seen him given as well. It was fairly light. Of course, then the goal they score with the head injury of Luke Thomas. So. Yeah, then the game goes away from you. But the spirit and the performance of this team, it reflected also in the stands with the support of the crowd. It's been different here. I have to say, I'm proud of this team.
Why do you think in the last couple of weeks we've seen an upturn from your team? A couple of decent performances.
Yeah, I think it's the spirit of this team. I think you see among the promoted sides that it's such a mountain to climb to stay in the Premier League. 5 games before the end, 2 teams are definitely relegated, and 1 is 15 points behind with 5.
Time for Arne Slot to start building towards that game. It could be done as early as Wednesday, depending on what happens between Arsenal and Crystal Palace, but it could go to that game against Tottenham, where Liverpool will have it in their own hands. On this performance against Leicester, how do you think they're coming into these last few games of the season?
I think they were in better form in the winter months, and none better than possibly the 2 performances against Tottenham this season. When you think of the league game, or simply the game at Anfield in the Carabao Cup second leg, Liverpool were fantastic. They were excellent in the league game there.
Both posts in the 3rd minute. Did you go from thinking, it's kind of a matter of time till we score, to as the game wears on, is it going to happen today?
No, I never felt it's not going to happen today because we kept creating chances. But you do know that if you play against a team that's almost relegated or very close to relegation, that it helps if you can kill the momentum immediately by scoring a goal. Hopefully find the second one immediately afterwards, and then it's normally an easy game for you. But if you don't score the first one and the stadium was sold out again because the league leaders come, and they get a bit of momentum, they get a bit of belief for a result, then it gets more difficult and more difficult. That's why I was really happy and pleased with the second half where we created so many chances.
Yeah, and I know it's not done yet, but when you're in this situation, does every victory feel like a huge moment? Does every victory feel like a big step?
Yes, but it felt like big moments during the whole season. But of course, in the end, they seem to matter more because either you want to go to the Champions League if you are number 5 in the league, or if you're number 1 in the league, you want to stay in that position. You want to try to stay out of relegation. So in the end, it always feels that it's more important. But yeah, it was a good win, but with a lot of effort again.
Why does this team always find a way, do you think?
Because they just keep going. Mentally, they're really strong, and they just enjoy to play football. They enjoy to be out there trying to create, work very hard, not to concede, because I don't think, apart from the first half where they hit the post, they've created a lot. Maybe in extra time, 1 shot over the quite high over the goal. So yeah, it's a bit of both. They enjoy playing football, and it always helps if you play for something special. Let's be honest.
Great to be able to turn to a player of Trent's quality. How special a moment was that? I mean, every question about him this season has really been about the contract. But forget that for a second. How good is he?
He's incredible. If he sets his mind to it. So I think if you play for such a long time at a club, there are always moments where you feel like, maybe again an away game where I've been so many times. But every time when moments really matter, so when he came in half an hour before the end against Newcastle, that's probably the best I've seen him play. And then against Paris Saint-Germain in the second half, where we really needed a goal, he stepped up. Unfortunately, he got injured in that game. And to know today, he knows when it matters most, he can just bring a bit more. And I think that is something only the top players have. And he has that definitely.
And those top players, as you say, you want to keep them. So can you see a way that he stays? It's felt for a while like that's been set on a path different to Virgil's and Mo Salah's. But can you see a way that he's doing magic things for Liverpool again next year?
I think my only good answer is to talk about his goal, because all the attention should go to his goal, the importance of his goal, the importance what he did for this club for so many years in a row, and even this season, this is my only season with him. And for him scoring a goal like this, all the headlines should be about him scoring this goal and not about his contract situation.
And again, all season long, you haven't wanted to dream, you haven't wanted to look too far ahead, but it's one game now.
Yeah.
It's one win. Is it harder and harder to hold back those dreams?
No, it's never hard to dream, but I think it's also clear that you saw this today as well, that we are really focused on playing. The boys deserve to have a day off, and hopefully they're going to enjoy that. And then when we are back together, with full focus on Tottenham, and looking forward again to a home game. Probably the stadium will be full.
I'd have said it might be, yeah.
So it's a nice game to look forward to, but we have to focus on Tottenham, which we've played already 3 times this season, I think, and it's every time they've made a real competitive game for us. So we know what to expect, and we know we have to be ready.
Okay. So we'll see you at Anfield next week.
See you next week.
Thanks, Arne.
Seasons. But is Ruud van Nistelrooy the right man to bring them back again?
I hope so. Well, he spoke well. Ruud's a pretty honest guy, and no doubt he's disappointed. But obviously, his message there was, he wants to get him back up next season. He obviously wants that backing for the board and get on with the recruitment, the pre-season, and start looking at plans ahead. But his message there, he's looking for a thumbs up from the club owner, and maybe there'll be some sort of statement over the next few weeks, and to say, we're backing Ruud to get the club back up next year, because it can happen. There's obviously frustration. I think the lack of goals at home, obviously, the supporters, there's definitely problems at board level. Ruud mentioned there, like recruitment in January, and didn't quite happen. So there's stuff to fix, and let's hope Ruud is the man to do it. It's been a tough few months for him, but I think he's handled himself well. But fingers crossed he'll get that opportunity.
So, as a manager, when are you preparing for the next? So now, obviously, they've been relegated. I wouldn't say it's a relief, but if he's the man to stay, he wants to know exactly what is...
I think so, yeah. And you'd want that maybe from the backing from the board. Now that they're officially relegated. Of course. That's what you want the club to say, you're the man, you've signed a contract. He's obviously admitted there, he's been obviously really disappointed with the results. It's all right getting relegated, we can look at other things, but I think the points total is really poor, and the lack of goals. I've mentioned it already, there's maybe no issues probably at board level. There seems to be noises, the fans are frustrated with that. The fans were frustrated with the previous manager, even though Steve Cooper at the time was doing okay. I think he had 10 points after 13 games or whatever, and I think they'd scored the most games bar one. But Ruud's coming, it's not quite happened. But sometimes then you need to clear out something new in the summer, get ready for the championship, and again, hopefully Ruud's the man to do that.
I mean, there's not been much for the fans here at the King Power to cheer either. That's 9 games without a goal at home, which breaks a Premier League record. A top flight.
Do
you know what, Mike? If you're going to keep clean sheets as a defender, you need your strikers to score in order to take advantage.
I remember that. That was under Stuart Pearce, wasn't it? All the way, 2007. And I just used to go into the game thinking, guys, come on, please, just score one. We're under pressure every single game. And when you see them stats, they're very, very damn.
Yeah,
is that when you put David James up front?
Mm-hmm. I think that was the season before.
If they got really desperate, they could have put Mike up front.
I made my debut up front, you know that?
Yes, correct. Yeah. You had a bit of experience in that area. But yeah, if you're going to... that wasn't your job to score the goals.
No, exactly.
That's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, I was
I know, always
defender,
nice to dig up your old trauma as well.
Always stats against me. Was that you, was it?
That's what it felt like watching this game, and the way it's felt like for a few weeks, where you come away and thinking, come on, can it be a bit more sort of spectacular maybe in terms of the football or the pace of the game at different times? But then you come away and you look at how many shots Liverpool had, how many big chances they created. And Liverpool have scored 75 goals in the Premier League this season in 33 games, which is a brilliant record. I think Arsenal, obviously in second position on 61. And I still feel like they can score more goals. Every time I watch them, I feel as like, if they could do it with someone else there alongside Salah, who was as clinical as him, in terms of getting more goals, because they very rarely actually go out and sort of beat someone 4 or 5-0. Maybe we'll look at the stats tomorrow on Monday Night Football, exactly. But they feel like they win a lot of games by 1 goal or 2 goals. Very rarely going to win by sort of 4 or 5. And normally you associate that with title winners doing that maybe 4 or 5 times in a season. I don't think that's quite happened for Liverpool this season. But in terms of chances created, it feels like they should be scoring a lot more goals.
It's funny because the goal sort of sums that up. Although it was a goal in the end, Van Dijk had a go, Salah had a go, McAllister had a go. It could have been a goal like 3 times before it actually went in from Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, well, it comes from a set piece, and Liverpool were dominant on set piece, especially with Konate and Van Dijk. But the way it comes back out to Trent here, just look at the way he shapes up. This is why he's so important for this team. His technical ability is just second to none. You see it there bouncing around. Are they going to get a goal or not? But look at the way he shapes his body there. And this what separates him from other fullbacks. And I said the other day he's in the top 2 fullbacks. I think he's exceptional in what he can do. Yes, he can improve defensively. We all know that. But what he brings to this team offensively is second to none. Bradley played well today. Defensively got caught out a couple of times. But just the way he shapes up there, it's just perfect. Yes, the goalkeeper should do a little bit better. But I was just delighted for him. Put away the contract. Put that to the side for a minute. It's a massive, massive moment for him. And I'm delighted for him because it would have been frustrated, and he enjoyed it. Look at him shout, it's all the emotion coming out. And I feel this season, of course, you want to get him tied down, signed to a new contract, but we forget how quality this player is going forward. He's absolutely sensational, and whatever he does, whether he stays, whether he goes, I mean, he deserved that moment because over the last couple of years, he's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and I love him. I really do.
He wanted to concentrate on the moment when he was asked about it. His manager wanted to concentrate on the goal rather than Trent Alexander-Arnold's future when he was asked about it. Is it possible to separate the two, Roy? Is it possible to say this is a great moment without talking about what's to come for him?
Well, you have to, but when you're a footballer, you're gonna have these demands. And over the last few months, he's obviously decided to keep quiet about his contract talks, and a lot of fans wouldn't like that. But if you look at the fans' reaction when he scores, fans can be like that. You know, they'll be disappointed with you. But when you turn up and you perform like he has done and scores an important moment, then it's all forgotten about. There'll still be Liverpool fans up and down the country, all over the world, frustrated with Trent a little bit. But you can't begrudge the guy what he's done on the football pitch. The brilliant player he's been for Liverpool. Is it 350 odd games or whatever? It's fantastic. He's a brilliant player. And the contract thing will obviously be sorted out, I'm sure, over the next few weeks. It clearly looks like he's going to be leaving. But yeah, let him enjoy that moment. But you also have to be mature enough to understand that people are going to ask questions about your situation. He's dealt with it by not commenting on it. And you have to respect that. You mightn't have to like it, but you look at the Liverpool fans' faces there. What if he leaves the next few months? Yeah, a lot of them will be going, you know, they'll be frustrated with him. But they're not frustrated with him today, because that's the modern football fan. The bottom line, he's gone out there and he's done the business. We felt when he came on today, all of us were saying he'd probably scored a winning goal. And that's what he's done. And as poor as Liverpool, I suppose, has been in the last week or two, they've created loads of chances. 2 of the defenders have stepped up. They've forced goals or winning goals from set pieces. And that's a good sign. You know, I've always said they have a good knack of winning football matches, even when they're maybe not at their best, but they're still creating loads of chances. They gave up 1 or 2 chances against a poor Leicester team. Leicester obviously not good enough to punish them, but they've won the game. Pretty sure they got the job done next week.
It may already be decided behind closed doors, but if Trent Alexander-Arnold leaves Liverpool at the end of the season, whether it's for Real Madrid or where else, but Madrid are the front runners for this, did he show today, even in that sort of 15, 20-minute cameo, exactly how hard it's going to be, whether it's Conor Bradley or whoever comes in to replace him? You
can't replace him, because what he is, the reason we talk about him so much, I think he's the most talked about fullback we've probably ever seen in the Premier League, is because he's unique. He's different. And you've just mentioned about him defensively. Now, most top fullbacks don't get it thrown at them. They're not very good defensively. But he's so unique on the ball. I think I said 4 or 5 years ago, it's like having Kevin De Bruyne play at right back. You know, that's what it feels like in terms of his ability on the ball. He can come on and change games. So Liverpool aren't going to replace that. So Liverpool need to replace his creativity. They're not going to do that from right back. They need maybe to do that from an attacking midfield position or maybe a left wing position. So the team has to evolve that way. Now, where they can replace him is Conor Bradley's a right back. Conor Bradley shouldn't look at Trent and think, I want to be like him. He's got to be like Andy Robertson was when he was in his prime. a proper fullback, up and down, aggressive, at the winger, maybe overlapping, getting crosses in, underlapping is what the Liverpool fullbacks like to do. So you're not going to be able to replace him, so forget that. But the big decision Liverpool have, or a couple of decisions between now and the end of the season and the summer is, if Trent hasn't committed, which he hasn't, obviously, to the manager for next season, he shouldn't be starting games. He shouldn't be, because
even not for a send-off for him for what he's done for the club. You think about planning for next season.
Of course, Liverpool are not here as a football club to give someone a send-off.
Yeah, but I mean, you win the league for so long. He's been a vital part of that. I mean, yes, I understand what you're saying in terms of like you've got to prepare for next season. I totally get that point. I do, but for what he's done for the club throughout his years, been there since a little boy, they're going to win the league, just to give him a few more appearances and say, you know, well done.
No, it's not about that. The point we're being is, in Conor Bradley, you've got a young player. It's not like we're talking about a 27, 28-year-old. It's not about a young player who had a tough 15, 20 minutes at the start of the game. And that's part of becoming like an experienced player. I went through that in certain games. Gary, who's commentating, would have gone through situations like that. It's not about, let's give Trent a send-off. It's about, okay, we need to assess whether Conor Bradley is the guy for us next season, playing week in, week out. Because the decision Liverpool will have in terms of Trent moving on is, does Conor Bradley become our first choice right back and we buy a backup player who's maybe a utility player who can maybe play centre back? Or are we buying a first choice right back and Conor Bradley's going to have to battle with him? So that lad needs as much experience as he possibly can get. So yes, bring him on, like you did today, if you need to go and win the game, maybe against Spurs or a couple of weeks after that. But in terms of starting games right now, if Trent hasn't committed to the club, which he obviously hasn't, Conor Bradley should be starting every game.
But is there not a question to ask about having your assets on the pitch? If you starting every game with your
next Sunday being who would you start next Sunday if you have to beat Spurs?
Conor. No, what I'm saying is, if Liverpool, if this title wasn't sewn up and it was edging heads with Arsenal, you put your best player on the pitch, which is Trent. But Liverpool have won the league. You know,
have you seen enough in Bradley? Because I think he's good enough. If Trent was still, I think he's a really good player.
Week in, week out. We still don't know.
That's my point. That's why you have to give him his head now. Sort of 5 games to go. Start him in all these games. He'll have good games. He'll have bad games. He's a young defender. But give him that experience, and then you get to the summer and you make your decision what you do.
It's amazing that we talk about Trent. Trent's a fantastic player. But as if the world's coming to an end if he leaves. Yeah. If he does leave, you wish the lad well. He's done brilliant. He's been a good servant. He's been a brilliant player for Liverpool. But I'm pretty sure Liverpool will survive. Better players have left Liverpool than Trent. And Liverpool are doing okay. You have to also accept, supporters have to accept you're supporting the club. Obviously, you love your players, you have your idols, you have certain players like Dalglish and Rush and all these people. But when they leave, you just continue this.
Exactly.
Good players will come through. That's the name of the game. So, as brilliant as Trent is, Liverpool will be fine.
And the point I want to make about that is, before this team got together, Steven Gerrard, alongside your dad, the 2 greatest players to ever play for the club. You know, we were in the team together. We didn't win the Premier League. The next manager won the Premier League and won everything with, you know, half of this team and other players who moved on. So the greatest player in Liverpool's history moved on. The next manager won the league and won everything. European Cup, World Club Cup. It just shows you the great clubs. As Roy said, he knows better than anyone the great club he played for. You'd be fine.
So go next level, what for them to push on or kick on next season, what do Liverpool need in your opinion? Say you was to lose a Trent.
I think Liverpool need 5 or 6 players. I do.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. I do. I think they need a lot more pace in the team. I think every area of the team could be looked at in terms of 2 defenders, 2 midfield players and 2 attackers. Yeah.
I think it'd be good for the manager, the Liverpool manager. Watch the strong teams always done over the years. Chelsea, United, going back to Liverpool in the 80s when they were doing really well. They'd also then make a statement this summer. I know about these couple of lads signing deals, which is fantastic. But they'd also go out and buy 1 or 2 or 3 top players, and everyone go, "Oh, hey, you send a message to everybody that we might have won the league, but we're not relaxing with this." You send that message, and if Liverpool go out and get 1 or 2 world-class players, you're also putting a marker down to the other teams to say, "Listen, we're hopefully here to stay for a few more years, competing at the top."
Because the point to be made is, since they rejigged the board at Liverpool and since they brought in new decision makers in Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards has come back into the club, hasn't been very active in the transfer market, if at all.
No, so that means there should be plenty to spend this summer. But Liverpool aren't a club who'll just, you know, to pacify the supporters, we're going to buy lots of players, something that Chelsea have been doing for the last years, and Manchester United. I mean, look at the state those two clubs are in. It's about being brave, which they were really brave. When does a manager ever come to a football club, a new manager, and not really sign anyone for the first team or bring players he knows from his former club? It's unheard of. And they held the nerve, and they get criticised from Liverpool fans, and I get criticised as being an FSG stooge.
Are you?
No. But the point I'm making, you have to admire the nerve and what it takes to actually stay strong and say, no, we're not going to panic, we're going to wait for the right moment, and we're going to deliver. And that's what they've done for the last sort of 6 or 7 years, and hence why they've been so successful.
Do you think they'll do it this summer, Jeremy? Do you think they've got two lined up?
Liverpool are a club who have a big summer every season. I think Liverpool could have a real go, and then for the next couple of summers it'll be okay, we've got this team now, and then they'll go again. And I think history shows that even when Jurgen Klopp was manager, I think this summer is the right time to do it. Arnie Slot has assessed the squad. It's not his squad, it's Jurgen Klopp's, and he's got a little bit more out of it than the previous manager did last season, but he'll want to put his stamp on it this summer.
And he's taken them to within 3 points of the Premier League title.
5 games to play. It says something on the difficulty when you get up to compete, especially in this moment where we, of course, were that far behind that you never give up, but you see it coming. You see it coming, and that then pulling off these performances with the will to prove themselves still right through the end of the season, to finish it on the best way possible, and taking it into next season. And that's where we shifted the targets, the goals that we want to achieve, and that's what the players are showing.
Yeah, you touched on a few things there and how tricky it is for promoted teams, but in your view, and I know you only came in November, why have Leicester City been relegated, and is there any more you feel like the players could have done, the club could have done, you yourself could have done?
Of course, first starting with myself. I came in December, and you have to look at yourself first, and then evaluate with the leadership and management of the club to see what happened, how did things go, and see where you can find each other moving forward.
How big a challenge was that for you, Ruud, coming in mid-season to a team that's already in trouble?
Yeah, we knew it was always going to be a big challenge. Of course, expected to get more results. I think we played some very good games where we forgot to take results. In the end, the difference is in the 2 boxes, and that's the difference in the Premier League, where the top teams they outplay the expected goals, is how I say it. They score more than the expected goals say, and of course in the defensive part and in the 2 boxes, that's where the quality is, and that's where, of course, the money is spent. And in the winter window there wasn't anything possible to strengthen. That I think that the team really needed. It really needed, but we had to adjust the expectations on that during the window. In the end. I expected more. I expected more since I came in December to get more results on the scoreboard.
But it sounds like ultimately what you're saying, I mean, we can look through different games, different decisions you made or whoever made. Have Leicester been relegated because they weren't good enough, the quality wasn't there?
Not enough to stay in this league, compete with the 17 teams that are there for a long time in the league, and the gap appears to be too big for promoted sides, but in that sense is the conclusion, yes, we weren't able to compete enough to stay in.
In the last few weeks, with maybe a change of setup, some of the young players you've brought into the team and the squad, you've started to sound like, it almost look like you're presenting a vision for the future, like you want to be part of it. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment of what you've tried to do and what you want moving forward?
It is a fair assessment, because it's where we shifted the motivation and the targets and the spirit to reach these goals. To look, we have to use this time to get better and to be in a better place, ending this season and starting the new season, because the club will continue, and it's my job now to put the club in the best place possible. Yeah. And in my vision, this is the way forward.
Yeah. And when do you find out if the owners share your vision, whether they want you to be manager again next season and hopefully lead Leicester back?
I hope soon, because the new season starts in very soon, and preparation need to start to move forward.
So you want to keep the job and you want to have conversations as soon as possible?
Of course, and then you have to find each other. As I said, in the winter window went in a certain way. We have to take that into the evaluations as well, moving forward. If you are willing, we are willing to do so, both sides, and we have to find each other there. And of course, the sooner the better.
Thank you, Ruud.
Thank you.